to the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over that platform they deserve. I am your host, Nathan Ragland, and welcome back to Amateur April, the one time of the year to where I like to give artists I think deserve a much stronger following the platform I feel like they deserve. Although with this artist, I think they've provided quite a platform for themselves, giving themselves across the radio waves, allegedly. But I'm not here to have a bone with them. I'm here to have an incredible conversation that I know you guys are going to love today. Today's guest is Bonergard Epsilon Hamilton, aka Hambone The Skeleton, a Vtubing skeleton with a fun style and a fun presence that they have on Twitch for Radio Bonaire. Hambone has actually been someone that I have been keeping tabs on for quite some time, and I was sincerely grateful that they took the opportunity to be here today, and I know you guys are going to absolutely love the conversation we have for you today. Make sure you support Hambone with all the links down in the description below. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can. I see that stuff, and I absolutely love it. If you want to go a little bit further with that support, maybe you should consider being a part of our Patreon today at pmap.creator-bring.com. There you can get some exclusive behind-the-scenes content, early access to episodes, bonus episodes first and foremost, so much incredible cool stuff for as little as $1 a month. And look, if all you want is a calm, cool, casual place to where you can meet up with some other artists and talk about some of the artists on this podcast or share your own art as well, maybe you should consider joining our Discord server, the Artist Sanctuary. The group we've already developed has been a fun group to chill out with, share some incredible fun art and memes and such, and I think you would be a fantastic addition to that today. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast. Can you say something super duper quickly? That works. Perfect.
Is that quick enough? I don't know if I can do it quicker.
The quickest noise in the West. At least it's better than, what was it, the freaking no memes or whatnot. The quickest one, just ooh.
Oh. Yeah. Are you partial to the gnome v goblin debate? Do you have a say on it, or you just want to remain impartial?
I didn't realize there was a debate.
Oh, it's sweeping the internet and Discord as we speak. Or it might be a past thing. I don't know if people really care about it anymore.
Okay, so I have to obviously ask, since you're the one that bring it up, what's your take?
I do like gnomes. Gnomes are more homey. It really depends on the mood. Like, if I'm, like, believe it or not, if I'm goblin mode, I'm more goblin, but if I just want to be a homebody, I'm more gnomey.
You know, honestly, that's a very valid one. I know that at least from what I can see, the internet seems to have more of an affinity towards the goblin, but I get what you're getting at with the gnome homebody, like, just comfort vibe more than anything else.
It's like Polly Pocket version of a Hobbit. So, like, I get that.
That is something that I've never... That's a good comparison. I'll give you that one. That's a good comparison.
Yeah. Before we get started, how, like, blue or profane can I get?
Oh, I don't give a fuck. Go as far as you
All
need.
right, good. I was listening to... Last night I was listening to some of the Sneb Soda or Soda Steb interview you did. It's very interesting. Like, I do follow them. I'm not too big on, like, catching their streams. They are Australian, so if they are streaming, I'm also streaming because it's late at night. But yeah, I'm probably going to finish that up today.
Okay. Well, I really do appreciate you taking time to listen. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm always worried to, like, hey, I should be best on a podcast at, like, some of my friends' podcasts. But there are some friends whose podcasts I don't really listen to. I'm like, I don't want to be a dick who goes on a podcast that doesn't at least listen to it.
No, I get
at least a little bit.
I'm honestly like the same way. Like, especially when I do get the opportunity to appear on other people's podcasts, I at least want to, get at least an episode down, kind of understand like the vibe that they try to go for before I just go all in and be like, hey, let's see how this works.
Yeah, like you've also said, like, at the beginning of it, how it's not going to be an intense, like, tell all, like, attacking Frost v. Nixon interview, but You got to be on your toes because I might make it that one. So that way.
Look, at the end of the day, this is as much your interview as it is my, podcast or whatnot.
You
so,
said
whatever direction it goes, I'm just the passenger, and you're a freaking crazy train.
Oh God! Oh no! Oh no! I'm so sorry. But you even said that in the interview you said, like I was listening to. Right.
It's not the first time I've had to emphasize that with guests, because I don't know about you, but I know some guests when they hop on here, it's like they're nervous because for some of them this is their like first time being on a podcast, this is their first time being interviewed, just period or whatnot, and they're like, oh God, I don't know what to think, I don't know. I'm like, no, this isn't 60 minutes, the secret life behind VTubers, or the secret life behind a depressed lonely artist or something like that.
Whoa. Don't worry. I promise I will only turn it into extra or variety just a little bit.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Ow. So sync it up to the ow.
There you go. That works for me. All right, Hambone. Before we really get going, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may. Let's say you get to go to a desert island on your own accords. It's just you, alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe. Get to truly enjoy yourself for a little bit. With accommodations. You're not stranded on an island. You're just getting a chance to kick back and relax for a little bit. To help with whatever kind of mentality you want to go with on this island, you could bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you. Again, to help with whatever headspace or whatever vibe you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what would that one piece be?
I would like an encyclopedic sort of volume of different monsters. Not monsters from Space Jam, but like monsters, mythological creatures, or like horror movie monsters or characters.
Okay.
And that, or like something on superheroes, like a sort of encyclopedia on superheroes, very sort of granular sort of thing.
Okay.
Like more like either in universe or like outside of universe regarding their origins or their powers.
Okay. What?
I came ready. I heard the intro you did with Sneb. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting.
Okay. Well, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the podcast. I appreciate that. But I want to divulge into that just a little bit because, like, I know I've had several guests, like, obviously express stuff when it comes to, like, stuff that they're offended, like, stuff that they really do love and appreciate and whatnot. But I don't think anyone has ever taken the opportunity to use their time on this island to study stuff more than anything else. So I just have to know, what is it about, like, monsters, like, that you want to, like, just learn more about them?
It's always interesting hearing mythologies and origins for monsters. Like, in my middle school and grade school libraries when I was a young schooling, they would have these encyclopedias. There was one in particular that was like from like the 60s or 70s. I got into like Dracula and Frankenstein, talking about the actors and stuff like that. It was actually an encyclopedia because it was alphabetical. Okay. And would give histories about them, little biographies, summaries of them. And it was like, it had this art, this like sort of 60s, 70s kind of Mad Magazine-esque illustrations for it. Mm-hmm. And reading about that is always interesting. It's like I just like having all the information, the sort of shorthand, without really getting to like a huge amount of media they're in. It's basically like how I am addicted to TV tropes and Wikipedias now and fandoms. I would say fandoms if they weren't, just verbiage.
Yeah.
Fandom.net. It's not like fandoms in general.
Trust me, I get that. But still, like, especially having that kind of knowledge and whatnot. I'm like the same way whenever I like fully immerse myself into something. Like, I totally get that vibe that you're coming from more than anything else. Like, for me, it's either like, a specific artist and like all the stuff that they've done, or like one of my other passions, wrestling, like learning all about wrestlers. And
oh my gosh. Like okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to bring up wrestling at some point, but I didn't think it'd be this soon.
Oh, I know. Trust me. I was going to bring it up at some point as well. So I think we got it.
Good.
But nevertheless, more or less like an encyclopedia of monsters or superheroes. That is your answer. You're locking that in.
Yes. There was also one that I read in, I think it might have been high school, that was like on urban legends.
Ooh.
Which like I mean, it would kind of be like with the internet now and Snopes and Mythbusters, it kind of is out of date. But like just seeing that all on a page and being like having a quick little thing to turn to, that's very satisfying. I find it superior, honestly, to Wikipedia's. Wikipedia's have their place, but having like a produced book that's nice produced, edited,
Curated,
no conflicting information. But like having that to refer to, that's actually really cool. And like you don't have to wait for loading or when you have to set through ads. So that's like my ideal sort of thing.
That's fair.
Marvel released a sort of compendium of their heroes and villains and an entire section on just the X-Men, because the X-Men is like basically its own thing. And like having that to just refer to, it wasn't like very complete, but it was like a nice little thing. There are also like summaries from like Captain America based on like their like who they are as a person and their history and like how they got their powers. That was very neat. I recommend that one if I could remember the name of it. It released a couple of years ago. You probably can find it.
If none else, I'll try to see if I can find it and see if I can link it in the description below. But nevertheless, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You can get some incredible merch at the merch shop. Go to pmap.creator-spring.com and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PostmodArtPod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. He is the host of Radio Bonaire on Twitch, the Vtubing skeleton living in a hole in the wall. Welcome to the podcast, Bonergard Epsilon Hamilton, a.k.a. Hambone the Skeleton.
Hello, everyone. It is I, Bonergard Epsilon Hamilton, a.k.a. Hambone, host of Radio Bonaire, here live when you are listening to this. I will not be live. I'm never live, but I'm here with Nathan, whose name I've just learned because I was just referring to them as postmodern art.
Okay,
Listen, I understand that feeling. People just call me Radio Boner when I show up in chat. It's fine. I get it.
No, I'll say to be fair, I've said this many times on here. I'm either known as Nathan, or a lot of people, especially in the VTubing community, they call me Post because they see that Post, first part of the name or whatnot. And also, if you know Eldritch Grandpa Sam Higgins, like every single time I hung out with him in like a voice chat or whatnot, he could not remember my name for the life of me, so he just called me Post, and I just ran with it.
Oh, okay. Oh, them. I think I know them. They're trans, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So I know them from like Wukiki and stuff.
Exactly.
That's where probably I know Snap as well.
There you go.
Like in VTuber, it's like tangentially know is like, oh, I showed up to their chat once, or I followed them, that sort of thing.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, but they're very nice.
They are very nice, and I also want to say that for you yourself, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. You're someone that's been really, like, at least for me personally, like, under the radar, more or less, like, just doing your own thing, but still having, like, a cool, incredible presence that I more or less wanted to give, a nice little spotlight on, especially whenever this episode premieres, so.
You're gonna make me slime.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
Okay, let's just get rid of the tears. But before I really divulge into the streams that you're putting out there these days, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of Hambone, or at least the flesh behind the skeleton, or the flesh before it was skeleton. I just want to know more or less what got you interested in art in the first place.
Okay, so I'm going to take this part like double parentheticals, OOC sort of thing.
Okay.
I think I started doing art. Like, I did like little doodles and stuff. I had this one character that was like basically like a sound effect balloon, like with like the little pointy sound effect balloons you usually see in comics that are like pow and stuff like that.
Right.
But he had like little tiny like haunter arms on the side, like big old eyes, and he was like just a little guy I doodled all the time.
Okay.
And I would also I would just do a bunch of scribbles on a paper and see what character I could see out of it and complete the drawing from there.
Wait, okay.
But,
no, like you're talking about like you would literally like take like just a random sheet of paper, just put like a random scribble, and then like see the shape was there and see what you can make out of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like that Gartic phone game. The name is not coming to me off the top of my head. It's not knockoff. It's the one where you draw a simple line and the other players complete it. It's kind of like that.
Right.
Except it's like a really just uncoordinated spirogram sort of thing.
No, that's fair. I was gonna say the only reason why I was like, oh my goodness, that like hit so hard with me is because when I was in high school, I had an art class. I had a buddy in there to where all we would just do all the time is like we would just start by just doing a simple scribble, hand it to the other person, and see what they could draw from out of that.
I see. All right. Well, we'll eventually get to high school art class, and the tragedy then unfolds.
Fair enough.
But as I was going from like 8th grade to high school, I started to be like, you know what, I'm gonna try and like do art, and because I'd previously, because I think like I'd gotten on DeviantArt, and I'm like, I want to put some stuff on there. I'd gotten into DeviantArt, by the way, just because Hey Arnold art was on there, and I wanted to see more of it, but I wanted to sign up for it. I was big into Hey Arnold all the time.
Okay.
I still am, but not as much. Talk about other Hey Arnold stuff later, but to focus on art, I would start drawing. I had a little sketchbook I got at Barnes & Noble, and I was trying to fill it up with just little sketches of things I saw, or little gags or jokes, or maybe like some renderings of people I saw in my textbooks. Like, here's a little like snooty-nosed Ronald Reagan, and here's the Ayatollah of Iran right behind his shoulder, with no absolute any sort of subtext to that. Don't look into it. Don't. And eventually I was like, okay, I'm going to take the art class in high school, and it's going to be the Barbara Walters moment of the podcast.
Okay.
So I do it, I get into the class, and, you know, I'm very excited. I was like, first day of my sophomore year, I'm going to take this art class. It's going to be so fun. I had not taken my science for the previous year so I could get this class. So I could get like 2 electives or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I get in there, and he gives the preamble and the syllabus of it, and he says something, it's lost to memory now, but he says something to the effect of, okay, who can tell me about art? What is the purpose of art? And for some reason, my little just Tim and Eric Adult Swim, a little random addled brain said potato, and he turns to me and says, what did you say? I said potato. He's like, get out.
Oh.
He kicked me out of class. I had to sit outside the door for the rest of the class, and I could not take that elective. I had to find a new one.
Oh,
it's super harsh.
That's harsh. Like, it's just a kid being a kid more than anything else.
But but at the end of the day, I eventually switched to a new elective. I switched to drafting, which, it's like drawing schematics and blueprints, which we actually did by hand on like a drawing board for the first semester. The next one we did it in AutoCAD. And that was actually really good practice to learn like penmanship and how to frame and block and use AutoCAD. AutoCAD, honestly, it's basically like vector line art because it's just like more strict.
Right.
And like I liked it so much, I took the next class after that, architectural design, the next year. It had a pretty good teacher with it, Mr. Olay. Shout out to Mr. Olay.
Shout out to them.
So I did that, and then like just through that in college, just doing little sketches, stuff like that, off and on again, trying to get art going. I think I really focused down on it in like, I think around 2018, 2019. It was kind of 2018 was a very dark year for me. I was having a lot of emotional problems.
Okay.
I actually admitted myself as an inpatient that year. Had to spend a week in a hospital and then a week in an inpatient, like, I guess, rehab facility.
Okay.
For a while. And I did that, and when I came out of it, I just kind of had this urge to be like, I'm going to be an artist. I'd been a food service worker for about, I guess, maybe 6 or 7 years at that point, as a profession.
Okay.
I actually went to college for food service.
Okay.
I have an AA in hospitality management, culinary focus.
Okay.
And so, like, I was like, if I'm doing that, I'm going to focus more on my art and, like, try and do stuff and post it online. Mm-hmm. And I was doing that for a while. Again, maybe not like bam, 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 rapid fire, but I was also doing it just to like let out some creative juice and force.
Yeah.
I started doing a little like web comic and web series about. They were like these kids, like these OCs. I've always had OCs. Yeah, God, so long, so crusty. It was like just like little gag comics with them, and there's also this one particular recurring one called Dictionary,
Okay.
where it was like a game they would play where they would flip through the dictionary, and they would see what word they happen upon, and I would give like their reaction to it. And it was set of like a rotating cast of like 10 different kids.
Mm-hmm.
I did it because there's so many, because I also tried to like differentiate and like diversify their look and like their profiles.
Right. Try
So
to more or less like
practice.
test your skills.
Make
more
them
like that.
distinct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like it was good practice. It was also like I only got to I think J before eventually I was like, I forgot to do it.
Oh.
I might go back to it. I have a lot of projects that I think about but don't do. I feel like that's the curse of a lot of artists.
Yeah, no, especially with a lot of the artists I've certainly talked to, that is both a gift and a curse, because, hey, you got all this creative energy and all these cool ideas, but at the same time, I got to actually go forth and make these ideas a reality.
It's also like you'll do it, or you'll think of your ideas and you'll want to do them, but you'll have other obligations you'll do, like you'll be doing your work and your job. Mm-hmm. And you'll be thinking about it, and you'll want to do it, but it's like I gotta work on this job, get the money. Look, cream rule, yeah. Cash rules everything around me, sort of thing.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Oh God.
No, I mean, like, to be fair, like with a lot of your story that you've just been telling or whatnot, like I relate a lot to it more than anything else. Like, you were talking about wanting to get back into art as kind of a way to do a creative outlet or whatnot. That's more or less like the foundation of this podcast. Like, because I was and I still am working like warehouse jobs more than anything else. Forklift certified.
Oh, damn. I know I was speaking to a badass.
But like even then, like working the tedious hours that comes to that, like I went to school for filmmaking and such, mass media, but like I never really had an opportunity to. I mean, I still have to finish up my major. Like I still have a few more classes to go, but like. Never really had like a way to like creatively exert that out after I got out of college until I started this podcast, and like really has been like creatively fulfilling more than anything else. And like obviously I'll have like a million different ideas as well, but like at the same time the fact that I have dedicated myself to this, especially for as long as I have at this point, like that's an achievement for me.
You have like 100+ episodes. That takes a lot of commitment.
It is, especially when it's a weekly episode podcast. So yeah.
God. Yeah.
I started this. What was it, September 2020? That was whenever I started.
So my God.
That was deep.
All right. I can. Yeah, it was deep panini. I can understand why you were like, I should probably do something while I'm like kind of isolated.
Well, I mean, the weird thing is, so because
how about I invite people to talk to me?
Well, I mean, like,
no, I understand that. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, the thing is, like, during this is gonna sound weird, but during COVID times, I never stopped working. Like, because the warehouse job that I was working, it was agriculture based, and that was considered an essential service, so I had to still go to work and do that kind of stuff or whatnot. So I never stopped, but like obviously when everything else in the world is kind of stopped, it's kind of like I need to do something.
Yeah, I definitely feel that as a food service worker. It's like, well, people need to eat, and people have DoorDash, so I guess I'm not gonna be just lying around until I eventually get fired. But yeah. So I think the year that like I started to like really bang out art and really focus on it, I think was 2019 or maybe 2020, where I was doing art fight and just like doing more complex pieces. I actually did a piece I'm very proud of Ido Junji.
Okay.
Actually, I can link it. It was Ido Junji, a painted style of Ido Junji, and I tried to do it like the cover of the poster for the movie Jumanji.
Okay.
And it was called Junji. I can probably grab it real quick. Pictures. There we go. Yeah, there we go. They posted in general. So I did that, and like from like no real painting experience in doing that, that's something I'm really proud of.
See if I can pull it up super duper quickly because I don't want to back up from the screen.
Also, since we are here, and we're like have a little lull. I would like to introduce my audio engineer Michael, who you can see right next to me.
Right.
He's making sure the sound sounds good and there will be no audio interference or hiccups.
Absolutely. Oh, trust me. We'll definitely divulge a lot more. If I see, one second, I'm seeing this Junji art. That's brilliant. That was really well done.
Yeah.
That's the detail on that more than anything else is really good. Like I applaud.
Yeah,
you for that one.
I'm still very proud of it. There are definitely mistakes, but like doing that with like just like being inspired to do that, like, and actually seeing it through to that degree, that's like very inspiring to me, and I'm very proud of it.
Absolutely. So I have to know, like, when was there a particular moment or a particular time for you in particular to where you thought that it went from just general love and appreciation for art and a passion to a passion and wanting to make it your career? Was it whenever you had gotten out of that facility? Was that like more or less the moment? Like, when did you really decide I need to make this my life?
I think I've always had that because I've always wanted to be a creator or maybe a storyteller or even a comedian or actor. Like listening to Robin Williams' 2002 Broadway performance, stand-up Broadway performance, which was very of its time, but I loved. Like as a child, made me want to like be a funny person, or at least a very like engaging, entertainer. And I've always had this sort of a mind for some people call them imaginary friends, but now I think we just call them OCs. And if you don't talk to them and pretend like there's no one actually there, they're just OCs or something like that. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I got you.
And like you can't like you have these characters, but like they're not like just characters in a vacuum. They have stories to them, and like developing the world around them, you eventually go, well, why don't I write it down or like draw something about it? Like having so many, it's like I should eventually, write them down or present some of their stories.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I'm always interested in doing. I feel like I haven't done that yet. I can do it. I know I can do it. Yeah. It's just having the discipline to like sit down. Okay, I'm going to write the first book of this graphic novel series about my superhero universe. And like even then, it's also weird to think about because the story of it has changed over time. I did actually write a sort of short story. I think it was like 20-page Amazon self-published story. Put on there, and the story from that one to what the sort of story I have in my mind now has changed drastically.
Right.
It's kind of gone from like a girl like kind of being reluctant to be a superhero, but she's eventually pushed into it, to like people in a city like trying out a sort of superhero public service. Public service. If I might give this elevator pitch, it's superheroes are more heavily regulated than we would expect, or as we would assume, because like only 4 superheroes to every major metropolitan area, and like because of other backstory stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The gist of it is like them trying to advocate and be less about law or crime fighting and more be about like public safety and emergency response, is coming in contact with police. You could tell this story changed around like the George Floyd protests and stuff like that.
Understandable.
I think that's I feel like it's a lot better of a story, and like it comes together way more as a narrative for me. Like it has a plot line to it instead of just being episodic. It's like more serial because like it's something I'm passionate about, and like it's also part of me trying to work out my own feelings with it and like how to make a system within like a superhero universe that kind of goes against police, like the structure of police within a city or a country,
right,
or world, you say. Like trying to I'm trying to think of the right word here. Like reconcile with that when I see it in media where the police and the superheroes kind of work hand in hand. And like after a while, it's like I'm not sure if I agree with that.
Right.
So like my superhero universe is like trying to be like, well, how do I like challenge that and like do that? And like how do I deal with the problems that would be associated with that? This is a really weird topic that went into it, but like what? That's the subject of the story.
Well, I mean, like even then, like the way I wanted to bounce off of that is like it's interesting how you have this like very grounded story in this like fantastical kind of circumstance and setting more than anything else. Like that's one of the things I certainly noticed when it comes to your presentation, your art, and stuff like that. Like you tend to lean a lot, at least from what I can tell, the stuff you tend to lean towards is more of kind of this like fantastical out of this world like concepts or whatnot, like the superheroes and like the monsters, stuff like that. What is it about like those concepts or those settings that like creatively like drives you?
I think just the possibilities, like you don't really have to limit yourself with what you're doing. Like it is your art, and I feel like before I've definitely limited myself on what I'm doing. It's like, well, it's my world. It's like, who cares if a skeleton's living in a dumpster hosting a radio program talking to a magic rat, or it's like, well, it's my world, why can't I have the police? That's why I don't like really want to jive with Boys or Invincible. I haven't seen them. I've only heard like tangential stuff about them. That's why but I don't like the idea of like evil Superman. I hate evil Superman. And DC's done it so many times, but like I like someone who is just, and them trying to go against corruption, which it be like an ooze man who's like corrupting people, or like a bureaucratic quagmire, if you will. Listen, back in the day, Superman was all about draining the swamp, okay? But then Alan Moore stuck Man-Thing in there.
Yeah.
Now they want to keep him there.
Yeah.
I know it's Swamp Thing in for DC, I know. I know Man-Thing is a complete original creation by R.L. Stine, I know.
Oh, goodness. That's a great conversation so far. No, I mean, it's always...
Were you expecting it to get, like, this deep right off the bat, or...
You know what? I don't know what. I honestly don't know what I expected with today. Like I never. That's the one thing I never expect with like guests. Like sometimes like I might expect like super high energy or whatnot, and then we could just get to like some serious topics. I'm like, okay, like the episode that you were watching, Sneb, like some of the stuff that we discussed in their episode or whatnot. I honestly didn't expect us to like go that deep
like
with...
the Olympic, like a skiing thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't expecting that either.
But it's always nice and refreshing to hear more or less like, even with our artists that may not be known for some of the serious stuff, some of the stuff that really does influence them, some of the stuff that really like gets them going, some of the stuff that's like more or less a good foundation for what they're presenting these days. And I mean, for you, like I can certainly see that with, once again, some of the, especially with what you've been able to tell me so far with your story, like, there's these fantastical, like, out of this world, almost escapism a little bit or whatnot, but you still have a lot of reality that grounds you more than anything else. Like, especially the stuff that you've kind of gone through, the,
what I've seen and what I've thought about. Like, again, I think it's like me, some of these stories are me just dealing with my issues with the world around me in an escapism way, but also like taking those difficulties in there and seeing how I deal with them with that escapism, with that fantastic isms.
Exactly. More or less. I mean, like the way you've been able to express that in some ways or whatnot, and the ways that I've heard you've been able to express, because I haven't even seen like the web comics or the story stuff like that. I really want to like divulge into that, 'cause that just sounds like fun.
Yeah, that's more of a flesh issue, and I know we're a little double parentheses right now, but I'm trying to keep it a more Hambone, So I might discuss that. I mean, we can't discuss it, but like, you lead the way.
I was gonna say, how about since you want to, we are in the double parentheses right now. How about we break those parentheses? Let's get to the Hambone part. Let's
yes.
Now,
indubitably.
Although we might have to stay a little bit with the double parentheses with this part, but obviously I'm currently talking to a skeleton right now. Though it's not the first time a skeleton.
Yeah.
It's not the first time a skeleton has appeared on the podcast. I got this little guy in the corner.
God, oh my God! I was gonna bring it up, but then we got talking. I'm like, okay.
Say hi to Clyde, everyone.
Hello, Clyde.
But no, obviously I'm talking to a skeleton right now, and I have to know, like, obviously I've seen a lot of models, I've seen a lot of unique concepts or whatnot when it comes to VTubers and streaming and stuff like that. Let me start by asking this: what got you interested in the idea of potentially streaming in the first place?
I'd done it before. I've done a couple art streams, kind of meet it up. I've definitely done a few like Binding of Isaac streams and Super Smash streams, non-VTuberized. But eventually, like, I think VTubing has helped me like kind of focus in on a persona that it is part myself, but also if like something perhaps like lulls in me talking or like it just sets a good groundwork to have something to fall back on to entertain or start a conversation or something. Like having the character of Clueless Skeleton, kind of like I was thinking about it. I'm far more Papyrus than I am Sans. Just Clueless Skeleton who's like, yes, the Mario with his many meaty thighs and jumping and dumpy. Like,
yes, the floor here looks like floor.
Yes, good. I like to lay down on a completely flat and then be unconscious for 8 to 10 hours. Having that to fall back on has helped. I think the persona of Skeleton, it's weird. I didn't really draw skeletons when I was doing art, but like, let me tell you, having a VTuber skeleton or a skeleton VTuber, you'll draw a lot of goddamn bones, and you'll be looking at a lot of goddamn skeletons.
Well, I have to ask, what exactly inspired the skeleton?
I think at first I was thinking maybe orc, because when I got into VTubing, like seeing that and being like, maybe this is a thing I can do. A lot of it came from like watching Bakura, Inugami Korone, and then switching to like other independent, you know, at the time, like Isojo people and other just clips, eventually going online. Like being like, I do want to do this, but like being the least cash poor I've been in my life and being like having the misconception of like I need to like spend a lot of money on a good V studio rig, which honestly that's just a complete lie, because right now I'm using not a honk. What's the actual name of the studio? Hold on. It is Vtude Mini, which it's like a good little like voice reactive sort of one.
Yeah, I'd say I said like, was it Vtube or whatnot? Like I've experimented with that as well, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, like doing that, like and being like, well, I can't. If I commissioned someone to do it, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable with it because it'd be someone else's art. So I thought, why don't I draw it myself? Because I have been doing art, and I was thinking, well, what can I draw that perhaps wouldn't take the most amount of time, but would also would not look like shit? So I thought, why don't I try a skeleton? And you know what? It worked. And you know what? I fell in love with the little guy, and I took him home, and I'm using him for entertainment purposes, like the marionette he is.
It's always nice to know that you can always use your skeletons for your benefit at the end of the day.
And especially monetize your skeleton before you die. You know?
Exactly.
I think also the skeleton helped because I am very into the creepy sort of Goosebumps, Chim Jacobus creepiness, and I've always have been as a kid. Like I said, I wanted to, if I got stuck in a deserted but all expense paid accommodated a desert island, I would definitely bring a monster encyclopedia. So that's always interested me. I just not really skeleton, but skeletons are just always fascinating and entertaining. Again, as I said, as clueless, just boneheads. Pardon the pun. Another thing that influenced it, there was this podcast way back ago called Fantasy Fiction. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I don't think I have.
But it's like a show, these two guys, Dominic Moschetti and Jeff Pennington. No, not Jeff Pennington. That's someone else. That's someone else who's tangentially related. Josh Henderson, there we go. Who you, if you know from Continue Show on YouTube. Shout out to them. This is the shout out section right now. But they would write these just off the wall, bonkers, just blue and ridiculous fantasy stories. And one of the things that would always stick out was like just skeletons doing weird stuff, like a skeleton behind a wall eating a bone sandwich, and he's like, "Hey, a guy's gotta eat." Or like they fight an army of skeletons, and one gets whipped on their pelvic bones. Like, "Oh no, my bony bones!" Like just having them be silly and ridiculous, like that is like my favorite part of it, and like that transition to Hambone.
Oh, there you go. There we go. Although I just want to say, going back to something you said previously, you were looking for something that was easy to draw. I bet after you try to go through and draw every single bone, after you were like, you had to just been like,
it's definitely tourniqueted. Yeah.
It's like you thought, all I just gotta do is just this little blob, but then, oh god, I have to get every single lumbar vertebrae.
Yeah. Eventually, like I think in this model right now, if you can see my spine, you can see my spine, right?
Yeah, I can see your spine, I think.
There is a pattern to it that perhaps would be considered copy and pasted, and you'd be right.
Well, don't worry. I think the copied part is like covered by your ribs. So I think you can get away with it.
Yeah. I'm not going to remove my ribs just yet, but I'm not going to Marilyn Manson it yet.
Oh Jesus!
I'm not getting a guy from the Wonder Years it yet. Listen, I don't need to. If I need to do what they did, I would just take off my head.
That is true. And there are VTubers out there that can take off their head. Shout out Alpine Showtime.
I can. Hold on. I can. I think I have it locked right now. No, I would break the whole setup I have, so I'm not going to do it right now.
Let's not break the setup.
But believe I can. Believe I can. So
it's held together by the wires by your headset.
Yeah. Also like the idea of like just taking what they could. It kind of is what I did, like taking what I could around me and making the best I could, or at least what I thought was the best. So like that's why I have a tuna can and wire coat hanger headset, and I have a rat as a microphone.
Right.
Held together with a hockey stick.
I think it's about time we address the elephant, or I guess the mouse in the room or whatnot. What's up with Michael right there?
He's fine. He's he just makes sure everyone can hear. I haven't really done an official lore. I've thought about it because my good friend Goomy Ghost did one. I'm like kind of inspired to do my own.
Okay.
Where before I found Michael, I was just a skeleton living in a dumpster in a dump. And I would just grab a bunch of stuff. It's kind of like that one, I don't know what studio did it, but that one Christmas cartoon where the guy makes Christmas toys out of garbage and gives it to the kids. It's like an old one. It might be a Sam Fisher one, or Fisher Studios. Sam Fisher's the Splinter Cell guy, so I don't think he did it.
Sam Fisher Price.
Oh, God. Oh, no. The clues were there, Mr. Snowman. But having that... Okay, so origins. So he would do that. He play pretend. I think one of them was like radio host. Okay. Eventually, he finds a box hidden amongst all the piles and mountains of refuse containing Mike, who's tied up. And he's like, oh goodness, I do a friend. So he gives him, he's like, plays along with them, and he like does his radio setup. Eventually, he actually gets a response back after, countless times playing. He isn't getting a response. He's like, oh, wait, you're a microphone. That's why people can hear me now. And like, apparently Michael is doing some things with his setup that are making it actually work. So the mystery deepens.
The mystery does deepen indeed.
There is literally a mystery box in my lore. I've learned well from J.J. Abrams.
That's smart. That is smart. I get that, and it's wonderful to know that there's a good, I guess, symbiotic relationship when it comes to you and Michael or whatnot. I just have to know, is Michael at least being fed? Are you at least making sure to feed Michael?
I mean, when the cockroaches come by and I go to sleep and they're all gone, I'm assuming that's Michael taking care of them.
Yeah, at least treat the mic every once in a while. Like, come on, like for all.
You know what, Mike, you've been doing a great job. I'm taking you out for a dilly bar.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah, it's like I think Mike came as a process. I think my initial sketch did not have Mike. It might have had Mike in it.
Okay.
But like a lot of the setup that I didn't really get around to doing was like I was gonna have like a I don't know, like a Fisher Price toy box as my monitor and my mouse. Not like Mike, but like my like mouse. Like it's not gonna be a Logitech. It's gonna be like a dirty pink bath sponge with like a piece of string coming off of it.
Right.
And my keyboard is actually just a Denny's placemat I put in letters on, not in a row or anything. But I do use a Logitech 1080p 60K streaming camera.
I just gotta say though, I think it would
that's just the button.
I just think it'd be hilarious though, just the thought of the fact that you have a sponge for a mouse, but your mouse is your mic. Like,
yeah, it's like Mr. McGreg with an arm for a leg and a. Oh wait, it's the wrong way around. Just like Mr. McGreg, you got to flip around and reverse it.
Oh Jesus! Anyways, no, but like, it's incredible to know that you have kind of this, like cool little concept that you developed, or more or less fun little buddies that I sincerely hope are at least getting their proper due diligence and whatnot. I have to know, like, what exactly inspired like the radio show idea, more or less. Like, was it just something that has always been kind of like part of you growing up or whatnot? Like, were you always a big fan when it comes to like radio shows and stuff like that, or was that just like you figured personality wise it lines up?
I think it's personality wise it lines up. They're like podcasts are basically just radio shows,
Yeah.
And also the pun, like I don't know why I thought radio, but like radio bone, and like it's kind of like radio drone, and like just adding the air. I actually have a logo for it. I don't use it too often. It might be on my Twitter page, like on the header if you want to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like radio bone spelt in bones, and then like a little cursive font of air.
Yes.
Just having that, like that just. It's the logo when I was like in the frenzy of like making my VTuber. Like eventually having that just kind of inspired me. It doesn't really lead much anywhere, but yeah.
I mean, it's a good.
Just having it there as a start. Yeah, like if certain like skeleton parts don't really like work for a certain thing I want to do, a little concept, I can always fall back to the radio part.
That is true. Although I will say, like, at least for me personally, I feel like the radio host was a good idea, because if I do say so myself, your voice, nice and smooth, like that's a good like radio like voice or something like that. Like I can imagine you being a good radio DJ.
Thank you. Yeah, that's weird because like sometimes I was listening. I had a collab with Anzu Majima on Thursday. This week is actually kind of packed with me for appointments, which is strange. Non-adulting appointments. And I was listening to some clips. I'm like, I guess it's just the fact of like you don't like the sound of your own voice usually.
Right.
Because it's also the thing. Like speaking of phones, you hear your voice higher than what other people hear your voice because you're hearing it travel through your bone, which travels quicker than through the air, so it sounds higher to you.
Really? Never heard that fact before. Huh.
Yeah, I don't know where I heard it from, and I'm not going to cite my source, but you got to believe me, I'm a skeleton.
You know what? That of all, if there's a source I would believe is in fact a talking skeleton right in front of me whose vocal cords I honestly cannot see. How are you even talking? Where are your organs?
Oh, that's simple. You see, and it's just a scientific fact at that point.
Fascinating. Like, where's Neil deGrasse Tyson on this information? Goodness, this is breaking.
Oh no, I don't want him to bring his scuffness to me and just be a downer like he is with his science. All right. Well, actually, maybe I shouldn't exactly say that. I'll just say that against Neil deGrasse Tyson, but not science in general.
Right. Absolutely. One of the things I do appreciate, whenever I do get a chance to catch your streams or whatnot, is like I just appreciate more or less like the good fun like vibe that you more or less like push forth when it comes to your streams or whatnot. Like when it comes to, wow, I had the words and then they just bloop out of my head. What in the world? No,
that happens. They evaporate sometimes. Yeah,
they really do. But like the kind of the mentality that you have when it comes to streaming or whatnot, like. At least ever since you've really gotten started, like how has it been more or less like how's the streaming experience been for you since you really went down this path?
Starting out, it's very stressful. I would be like, if I don't start by this time, I'll never have time to start it. And I'd be like trying to get it going, and then eventually I would say like maybe start at 11 a.m. and then I'm doing my stuff trying to get started. Then it'll be 11:01. It's like, well, day shot. Guess I'll try again tomorrow. But like, if you're doing this and you're not being accountable to anyone but yourself, you can just do it whenever the hell you want. Like learning that, you're not going to believe this, but life is full of lessons you got to learn. And sometimes you're the one you have to teach it. You're the one you have to teach it to, which is buck wild to me sometimes.
Yep. No, it's like I said, but many times before, you learn something new every day, and sometimes it's weird the lessons you learn.
I think a thing that's also helped is a sense of community, even when it's not like within your chat constantly. Like you could only be streaming to, for all you know, no one.
Right.
But having people you perhaps talk to outside of stream, or like you hang out in Discord full of VTubers and you chat with them and they give you advice and like you can play collabs with them, that actually really helps. I think some of the best things about the stuff in my life are actually the community. Like with it, whether it's VTubing or Star Trek, which you may not know this, but I'm actually a pretty big Star Trek fan. I'm part of a Discord for Star Trek.
Okay.
And like that's like the biggest sort of commitment I've had for the past 4 years was being a part of them. We don't just do Star Trek. We watch Lucha. We like Lucha Underground. Shout outs to them. Miss you, Dario, wherever you are. We watch Tokusatsu. We have a friend from Poland who shows us Polish movies.
Okay.
And like just having that also just helps. We play video games. We play Jackbox all the time and have answers that are just cursed, and we can't really share with other people what we do because we're friends.
Honestly,
so I think community has really. I think community, if you're a small VTuber, is possibly the greatest gift, and I think a lot of people don't either realize or appreciate it.
I mean, I know as someone that talks to a lot of VTubers, I certainly do appreciate the community aspect more than anything else, especially with how close this community can really be sometimes. Like especially hearing that group with the Star Trek stuff like that. I honestly,
they're not VTuber fans either. They post emojis with the word anime and a large X through it whenever I bring that shit up. Well, usually there are some who are into it. I've converted. I'm bringing a few over. I feel like within the end of the year, someone else is going to be a VTuber.
Yeah, there you go. I did. I'm sorry. I just loved, like when it comes to like the Star Trek stuff or whatnot, like that's incredible to hear more or less like that community, because I think you can easily test this. Star Trek really does like bring a lot out like creatively more than anything else, but also just like the worlds and the situations or whatnot are some of the most unique, especially with how long it's lasted. Like it's insane.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like especially considering Star Trek had a huge like popularity in the 90s to very early 2000s, and then it kind of went away, and then JJ just dredged up its corpse and kind of paraded around for a bit, and then CBS did that for a while too, and are still doing it. Hopefully they can lay to rest with Picard. But a lot of the new stuff, I will go to bat for 3 Star Trek properties that are happening right now. They are Star Trek Lower Decks, which is the sort of adult animated one on CBS, or CBS All Access isn't around anymore, is it? It's Peacock. Not Peacock.
It's Paramount Plus.
Yeah. Man, I wonder why people can't watch these shows anymore. Man, maybe consolidation of media properties is a bad thing.
You don't say. Anyways,
I'm joking. No, we need Conglomco Corp from Rocco at this point. But yeah, so Lower Decks, it has that Rick and Morty veneer to it, but past that, it actually is Star Trek true and true with like science dilemmas and moral quandaries. It's very much that. There's also one on Nickelodeon called Prodigy.
Right.
Did Firestarter just start playing in your head like it does for me, or?
Well, I'm not big into Star Trek, so sadly it did not.
No. I meant Prodigy, the band.
Prodigy, the band. Oh, Jesus. Okay, that tells you.
Was it Smack My Bitch Up?
I think that's
usually Firestarter. It's actually a very good one. It's Star Trek for kids because it is on Nickelodeon, but it's still very much Star Trek. And there's also Strange New Worlds, which is kind of Star Trek timeline right now is just convoluted. But it's basically a prequel to the original series, but in the new universe, because it follows Pike.
Right.
But it's actually incredibly good. My Star Trek friends who are very staunch critics of Picard and Discovery and all that, and JJ, they do not like JJ, but they are very much fans of Strange New Worlds.
I mean,
from what I've seen of it, it's fantastic. Too.
I can certainly see why, because I do know a little bit when it comes to Star Trek history. So I know that Pike was at least the original like captain for like the pilot episode, if I remember correctly, before they ultimately went to Kirk with William Shatner's.
It's something like that, but it's more. They brought Pike back in an episode of the original series where he. All right, do you know that sort of meme that happens in Star Trek and it does appear in South Park of the guy in like the stand-up wheelchair who can only beep?
Right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
That's Captain Pike.
Okay.
Yeah, but they like he actually in the concept of Strange New Worlds, he knows that's going to eventually happen to him. So he's like trying to do his mission the best as possible, with this outlook of eventually you will be like pretty fucked up, disabled.
Okay.
He's going to be disabled. Although it's kind of at the point in Star Trek, like, you know, you can do like grow people new livers. So I don't know how you can really be disabled at that point. Although that brings up another discussion about disabilities in Star Trek, like Geordi LaForge, people in wheelchairs in the Star Trek universe. When like you can regrow people's spines, you can get like Captain Picard a new heart, but we still have people in wheelchairs. It's just a very interesting.
It's a very messy situation at the end of the day.
And sometimes they will actually address it head on through metaphor or like actually like head on, but that depends on the writer.
That is also very
actually, you know what? If you are interested in Star Trek, this has been the favorite part of the podcast so far. May I recommend the fantastic M-Class podcast with Jeff Pennington and Josh Henderson? There are those names again. If you want to check that out, that's actually the Discord I was talking about was for that podcast.
Okay.
They have very like insightful sort of discussions about like the storytelling and moral implications and just sort of the society and world of Star Trek in between dick jokes and people interrupting each other about cartoon facts from the 80s. So if you're into that, go for it.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I at least know my Star Trek history because of a different podcast called Ridiculous History, hosted by Ben Bolin and Noel Brown. They dedicate like 2 episodes to like Star Trek's like the initial run of it and why it ultimately like how it succeeded, failed, and then succeeded over and over again.
Yeah, like it's how it keeps resurging. Like there's something ineffable about like having this lens on other cultures that, you know, it's a reflection of ourselves sort of thing. Like we have the brutish and warlike Klingons, the stoic and logical Vulcans, the shrewd and devious Romulans, and the capitalist Ferengis, and like just seeing that as a reflection of ourselves and how we're right up next to them and seeing how we differ as an examination of ourselves. That's just fascinating, and we keep coming back to that. I think it's a good, important lesson, just a product of like looking back at ourselves to learn. Absolutely. And like again, like the stuff I've done with myself, like taking fantasy to deal with my own issues and my own examinations. That's probably that's probably why I like Star Trek too.
There we go. So the question is, when are we gonna slap a red shirt on the Hambone and shoot him out to space?
Technically in TOS, red shirts only amounted for the 48% of the casualties on the USS Enterprise B.
Well, I was gonna say no. Technically, you would be the exception, because how can you kill a red shirt if you're already dead?
Shit. Oh no. I don't know. I think an Armis can tar slap me to death. I feel like that's capable.
Yeah.
There are many ways to die in space.
Of course there is. Just being in space could kill you, okay?
Honestly, humans are pretty delicate.
Yes. Yes, we are. Trust me, I feel that on so many different levels. Anyways.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah.
And look, again, I've got to bring it up again, but you mentioned it or whatnot. The fact that you were watching like Lucha Underground in this server or whatnot, like that's just something that it's funny for me, because the only time I've ever really watched Lucha Underground another VTuber and friend of the podcast, Rocco Farend, has been trying to like get into wrestling, and there was like just one day to where I was just like, you know what, let me just go to YouTube, find a bunch of random matches that we can find, because I was trying to show him like a different pay-per-view, but the Peacock was being stupid with me.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and we found, I believe it was from Aztec Warfare 2, I believe was what the
was. Two.
I think so, but it was the match of Rey Mysterio versus Prince Puma. Like that match that they had.
That sounds great. Yeah.
That yeah.
Me and my friends recently rewatched season 1 of Lucha Underground, and there are some fantastic matches. Mm-hmm. There is one that is also Prince Puma. Prince Puma, if you do not know, is Ricochet in the WWE now.
Yes, spoilers.
Oh God!
No.
But yeah, he had a fantastic match against Johnny Mundo, aka John Morrison from WWE. Mm-hmm. Strange how that keeps happening. They had a fantastic match that was basically an Iron Man match, but it was called an all-night long match that basically lasted the length of the show, which was like a 45-minute show. Right. When it was airing on El Rey. And I think you can watch the entirety of it on Amazon Prime if you have it.
I wouldn't be surprised
by that. But, yeah, it was a fantastic match. For a 45-minute Iron Man match, it's great. But, like, it's hard to do when, like, I recently hear of 60-minute Iron Man matches for pay-per-views, and I'm like, I don't want to watch that. That's far too much wrestling. Iron Man matches are just, like, very finicky, because either they can be fantastic and action-packed, or just a droll. Okay,
it's one of those for a lot of the Iron Man matches, a good couple of them or whatnot. Like, you're not gonna care about the first 55 minutes. You're gonna care about maybe the final 5 minutes when it's like, it's super close, and like who's gonna be the one to give up or whatnot.
That's just a testament to the wrestlers who can wrestle these matches and make them thrilling throughout, and that's definitely Johnny Mundo and Ricochet.
Oh, there you go.
Or I guess John Morrison and King Prince Puma, or whatever order you would like to do. Okay, I don't want to turn this into a shoot interview. But after we got done with all of Lucha Underground, we switched to AEW, and there was a main event of AEW. Actually, it wasn't even the main event, because if it was the main event, they wouldn't have been so mad. But it was like the first match of an AEW show. Where it was, I think it was. Was it? It
was Bryan Danielson versus. Was it
Hangman?
Was it Hangman? It was Hangman.
It might have been. It's either Hangman or Omega, and it was a 60-minute time limit draw. And when that happened, the boys were just pissed.
Yep.
And I wasn't. I was on the call. I was not watching as I was working. But after that, they were just like, "What the fuck?" They were upsetty spaghetti to a just untold degree.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, like, I was gonna say, like, when it comes to just like the wrestling as a whole or whatnot, like, I mean, you could attest to this. Like, obviously, I've attested to this several times on this podcast, whether it be people that are fans of wrestling, or the fact that at one point I did bring on an actual wrestler, episode 24, Edith Surreal. But like, there's an incredible like love and passion that goes into like the storytelling more than anything else when it comes to wrestling, and especially when it comes to like Iron Man matches or like those longer matches or whatnot. Like, you can have like a million different ways that you could tell that story or whatnot, but like if you're going to tell it to where the only thing that's going to matter is going to be the final 5 minutes, that's just bad storytelling.
It's also the fact like Lucha Underground is a very atypical wrestling show, especially when compared to the weekly stadium shows that AEW and WWE do, because it is in fact it is a television show more than it is a wrestling, but it blends both so well. Like the drama of like Dario Cueto and his brother Matanza, the monster Matanza, who, spoiler, I found out recently with Jeff Cobb. Yeah, I'm like, I wouldn't know that because he wrestles so different from Jeff.
Right.
Yeah, and like dealing with like Drago fighting all those fighting Hernandez and going on to fight everyone else and losing constantly and making my friend Mike sad because he always loses after season 1. Like the actual storytelling of it is actually incredible compared to regular week to week wrestling.
Right. Goodness.
So you did watch Lucha Underground, right?
I've seen clips from it, and I've said the one match was the Puma versus Mysterio.
Okay, there's this wrestler called Drago who's a dragon.
I got that part.
He looks dope. Well, he's feuding with this guy Hernandez, who was on TNA Impact. The from LAX, and he's in this feud with them. Eventually, he like gets in Drago's face. I'm gonna show to all these fans right here that dragons aren't real, and that's something we say to this day in the Discord, because it's like just having that ridiculousness and being played at least somewhat straight. I think that's a lot of the charm of Lucha Underground.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like, just wrestling as a whole, like, there's a lot of love and fun charm that can come behind that. I know that there's been at least a couple of times where you've been able to experiment with that on your own circumstances.
Oh, yeah.
At least with the 2K streams that you would have on your Twitch channel with your promotion or whatnot. I can only imagine how that
the radio Bone Air Championship Invitational Smiley Face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that did do that, because I was like, I was very on the fence of getting WWE 2K22.
Right.
And eventually I did get it, like, but it's like heavily discounted at this point, and the next one is like right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably still stick with it because I'm gonna wait for the next one to get discounted. But like eventually I go to the character creators, I was like, I'll make some of my VTuber friends, because people have done like VTuber tournaments, stuff like that. Eventually I'm like, I get into it. I'm like, okay, yeah. And eventually I find ways to do it. Like I make my friend Gimme Ghost, shout out to him again, I make him just like a big beefy guy with his P&G on his chest, or just find ways to like represent them. And there's limitations because, Gumi, small little ghosty blob guy.
Right. My
solution, just put him on just put him as a t-shirt on someone. I had previously done it on actually 2K20 where he was just like more of a person than just like a face on a shirt.
Right.
But I think just the reveal, the way I did it of the entrance, where he just kind of like, he like leans up from under the camera, like this big hulking figure, and then you just see the little Gumi Ghost PNG on his chest, was the right call.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw at least like.
I eventually should.
Go on.
I just want to say, eventually I should finish that tournament and start a new one because it was fun.
You probably should. You probably should, and because it seemed like a lot of fun, especially seeing like some of the clips or whatnot. Seeing the fact that you got attacked before one of your matches as well, which, by God, the humanity. No, but
by God.
But I'm only wondering, you need to finish that tournament at some point because I want a shot at that championship. I feel like, little Mr. Moneybags or whatnot.
All right. Cut a promo right now. Floor is yours.
All right, then. Absolutely. Look, I know that, this is a very young promotion. I know this is, just really starting to get off the ground, but I feel like the championship you've already established, especially the competitors you've already had in this thing, I feel like that you've already had a lot of prestige to it, but it's not prestigious enough. There needs a certain je ne sais quoi, as we shall say, when it comes to how prestigious this championship can be. And I feel like the good old Mr. Moneybags himself, I feel like he can get that championship by any means possible and make it the most prestigious championship in all of Twitch wrestling out there.
Damn.
And whoever gets the chance to hold it, I sincerely hope that you enjoy that opportunity for as long as it lasts, because you better believe I'm coming for that championship. I will hold it in my clutches and I will keep it until it is the best championship on the internet, period.
God damn. Like, I already just want to give you the $1 million dream championship right now. But yeah, just from that promo. Yeah, that I got to get back onto that. I eventually want to add, I have been working on some more competitors for it.
Okay.
So eventually, I got to get back. I haven't done it for a while though, so I need to focus up on it.
Well, I mean, hey, if nothing else, WrestleMania season's around the corner. I think that would be a good way to get some views on that stream if you do like your own, independent wrestling thing.
I need to gain the SEO. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, if nothing else, depending on when you want to do it, if I'm not super duper busy or whatnot, if you need help on commentary, I've already laid down my championship. I'd like to scout out the competition.
Ooh, that'd be good. One of the things that was hard about it was like finding time to get people to commentate.
Right.
My previous commentators, Jasper, Foshia, and Hellhounds 20, they are good. Sometimes just busy to get them. But if I do finish the tournament, I will give them first chance to help commentate with it.
Absolutely. and on this. But like, you know, thinking back to like just, you know, the stuff that we've talked about, you know, whether it be the art or the communities that you've been involved with or whatnot, just thinking back of your art journey as a whole since you've really gone in with this kind of stuff, does it amaze you more or less how far you've been able to come along?
It does. It does. Like, you're not gonna believe this, but I think I've gotten better at drawing skeletons since I've started.
I mean, whenever you draw them enough, I mean,
yeah, I still can't draw hands, but you know, I'm working on it.
What artists can't draw hands? Let's be honest.
Good point. Good point. It's the shitty thing about drawing people is like you can't just like put their hands all behind their back, just give them hook hands. Yeah.
Well, I was saying, like, for you, like, I imagine it's a little harder to hide your hands behind your back because it's like,
yeah, exactly.
It's not much of a back to hide.
Definitely, like, it's also like I have to kind of judge how I'm gonna do it, especially since, like, if I do it, I can't like just do like a globby sort of. Like Mickey Mouse glove. I should have given myself gloves. What was I thinking? I have to draw all these goddamn hand bones every time I hold something. God damn it. Aw. Well, can't go back. Unless it's time for a redesign.
I was gonna say, like, a redesign wouldn't hurt.
If I do a redesign, it would be more, I feel, 90s. Kind of like inspired by Curly from Goosebumps.
Okay.
That's it. I think I've pretty much touched upon this, but Goosebumps is definitely a source of inspiration for me.
Okay.
Curly, if you don't know, was the skeleton from Goosebumps who wasn't in any of the books, was just a mascot for Goosebumps.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
I think we all know the real, like, bad bitch of Goosebumps is, in fact, Slappy, the ventriloquist dummy.
Oh, yeah. No.
Who I actually...
Without a doubt.
I have a picture of him. He's right there.
Ooh.
Though I have a actual print of Slappy from the first cover of Night of the Living Dummy, framed and signed by Tim Jacobus. I just don't have it hung up.
Okay.
I don't know where I hang it actually. I probably hang it over my bed, but I'm afraid it might fall down and like kill me. So I need to assess that first.
Fair enough. But I mean, like, you know, even then thinking like, you know, inspirations like that and like, you know, the fact that you've been able to more or less grow or whatnot, like I've only imagined, especially with some of the streams you've been able to put forth with how fun that they've been, more or less. Like I can only imagine how much further you can go. Is there a stream concept or a stream idea that you would one day love to just execute and like go forth and try it?
I would like to do more. Besides gaming and art, I would like to do some cooking streams because, you know, cooking is something I can do. I would say it's somewhat of a passion. It's not like the most passionate thing I'm about, just because I've done it as a job. So that kind of takes the sheen off it. But I would also like to do some karaoke. It's just with the current living situation I have, I can't do it without fear of being yelled at. Right. So eventually, if that happens, I would like to do that. I would also like to do VR streams, just because I think it'd be cool.
I think it'd be cool as well. I think it'd be interesting to see just how much further you could go with this streaming aspect more than anything else. But yeah.
I have like just the very inkling of maybe like an interview sort of thing to play off the radio part.
Ooh, okay.
It's just very faint, but like it's always been there as like just sort of something that could happen. I just don't know how I would do it. I feel like it would not. Don't worry, it won't be as like hard hitting and investigative as you. It would basically be like an SNL skit, like a Harry Carey interview sort of thing, where I just ask just the weirdest questions that honestly don't make any sense. I somehow do negative research about my guests.
Have you ever seen Pluto?
That's a big pile of cheese.
God, that is a great sketch idea. I honestly go forth with it and
So tell me about your maybe not like tell me about your species, but like I don't know. Oh shit. Oh no, it's cool. I got a little red dot about connection, but it should be fine.
Okay.
But like the concept of like, oh, so tell me, you have those things. They're called pockets. What do they do? Because I just want to take it, Clueless Skeleton, and just like take it as an interview format.
I mean, especially when you execute it with like the VTuber aspect, some of the VTubers that are out there and whatnot, like you can go beyond clues and whatnot. So it says here that you are a slime, if I do say so. Now I have slime in my eyes. Are we related?
Oh God. Definitely that. So I just look at someone's like, I guess it would also be like a little Eric Andre, or it'd be like, "Hello everyone, welcome here. My guest today is a biblically accurate angel." And then like a fucking Tesseract eye monster comes and like goes, "Oh!" and a holy light just engulfs me. And I go, "Ah!" Something to that effect. But then again, there would have to be a biblically accurate VTuber. There probably
I
is.
was gonna say, this is the internet. This is the VTubing community. I'm sure if we dig deep enough, there's one out there.
I was honestly surprised. I probably shouldn't have been at just how many Skeletubers there are.
Yeah.
I will give shout-outs to this one Skeletuber in particular, Aegon VT. They have another part of their name. I do not remember it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But they actually have a Discord for Skeletubers.
Okay.
Who's really like he is someone I would call a bone daddy, because he is like really for the community and fellowship of Skeletubers. So shout-outs to them.
Okay, that's interesting. That's cool. That's awesome to hear. It's like I said, going back to my original point, just like community's a bit part.
He actually reached out to me regarding this, and like I may not be the most like active in the Bone server, but I do have it up, and I check in every once in a while. And I think just the way he wanted to foster a community of Skeletubers, and the way he's been supportive of like pretty much all of them. Mm-hmm. In general is very cool. Shout out to him.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. And I mean, like I said, we've been talking a lot about like the communities you've been involved with the journey you've been on, the art you've been invested with. But for this next question, if I may, I want to go a little bit above and beyond, and I want to give you more or less the dream scenario, if I may. Let's say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags that made that call out not too long ago. I come to him like, look, Hambone. Look, we know you we know you can do some incredible stuff. We've seen the little inklings and little bits about it here and there, but we feel like you should be able to do more. You just need that little bit of a little push, a little platform to really get that jump going. We have access to anyone and everyone in whatever industry is possible, and more money than there should be possible. We should probably be doing that to help people get in organs or stuff like that, but we'll focus on that later. Right now, we are focusing on you and you alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream Hambone project?
I want all the organs. All right, but seriously, okay, so I'm gonna have to clarify. Can this be Hambone, or can we do like OOC?
It could be either or, whichever do you prefer. I mean, if you want to go OOC with it, go OOC with it.
I will give both answers then.
Okay.
OOC out of character, I would like to do. I've talked about my superhero stuff. I'm actually very invested in it.
Okay.
So at some point, I would like to start at least have sort of. Well, that's the thing. If I have the resources, I don't know if I'd have the discipline to do it, but pie in the sky, if I could have it done, perhaps you have a machine that just you stick inside my head and takes all the ideas and drawings for me and does it for me. I would like to have a graphic novel series or a comic series of my superheroes. That's the thing I feel like needs to be out there and people need to see.
Okay.
And if you want to maybe option maybe a live action series or an animated series, we can talk about it.
I mean, we have the money for it. Trust me.
All right. Can we buy out Marvel Studios and have all their resources converted to make my live-action superhero movies? Thank you.
I mean, we can certainly try, but dealing with that mouse.
There's not that much money, even for Mr. Moneyback.
I was gonna say, we're dealing with a mouse here, and someone that has a mouse in front of their face all the time. I think you know how difficult that can be.
Oh God. Yeah, well, first of all, he's a rat.
Oh, rat! I'm so sorry. Oh, Jesus, that is. Oh God, that is.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Fine. Just don't look him in the eyes. Sometimes he hypnotizes you.
Say which eye? That's the question. They're in two different directions.
Oh wait! You see them as two different directions. Oh no! You gotta run. You gotta run. But all right, for Hambone, I would say if we could take this show on the road and do like a Skelly on the street situation. If I could, like, I have. You may not believe this, but I do have an IRL plastic skeleton that I eventually want to. Twinsies.
Twinsies.
Yeah, I do. I eventually want to. Like, I think it's the same kind too. I eventually want to. I found a tutorial on how to make a puppet out of that.
Okay.
And if I could like make it Hambone it up and like, there's one thing I do want to touch on that I did think I talked about when I was discussing like the inception of Hambone.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really came together when I got the bone brows.
Okay.
Like having that, because like it just helps so much in having him emote.
Yeah, it does.
Like having like this and like this, it helps so much, and like I think that's what really makes him just special to me. And like because he can like emote and like actually have emotions. And especially like even if like it's not moving on right now, but like having the foundation to do that really helps with it. Okay, but we would have a puppet with him. He'd like have the little nebulous necrotic purple around his open bits and like green eyes. Have a little like tin can headset. You'd also probably have to spray him just like the little faint shade of green he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also probably commission a little like little microphone with a little stick, like a little Michael microphone stick stand.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do like a man on street interviews with like be holding out mic like, oh yes, tell me about this painting over here. It was built by Renier or Renier or this Degas. Tell me about it. Like if I could like do that, I think that's like just the natural progression of Hambone to take him out of the screen and into your town.
Hey, that'd be interesting to see.
It would be like Triumph, but not mean to you. So good.
It's like Triumph, but he doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, it's like that one. It's like that one Wonder Chosen bit with Clarence, but I don't want to piss anyone off.
Yeah, fair.
That's not the goal. I try to make them laugh during it. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So more like Andy Milonakis, I assume.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? That's a good foundation. It'd be something that I would certainly be interested to see in one way or another at some point. But sadly, we gotta get down from the dream scenario. We gotta get back to reality.
No. Let me stay. I want to stay.
Look, I want to be there with you, but we have to get back to reality.
No.
And I'll ask the ever so generic question. Where do you hope to see yourself, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
Shit, I don't know. I don't think that far ahead. The farthest I've thought about recently was today.
You know what?
So like, I got an interview, and then after that, it's like just like static at this point. I hope at some point, like I said, I kind of hope I want to take this on the road.
Okay.
And like, just. It's interesting to think about because like VTubing is like it's definitely not its infancy. It's definitely its adolescence. Definitely has growing pains.
Right.
But I would be interested to see how it goes in like 5 years, where like we have like the AVGN basically of VTubing, and that they've been doing it forever, and just seeing that would be interesting. And I don't know if I'll still be here. I hope so. I hope by then I at least reach affiliate.
I think you can get that.
I don't know. So I keep saying, oh yeah, it'll happen by Christmas. It'll happen by my birthday. It'll happen by the end of the year. And like, all right. That I will say that has been weighing on my mind. Like the only thing I'm missing from reaching affiliate is like a 3 viewer average. I keep just missing it, and like I eventually do want to get there.
Okay.
So hopefully I get there sooner than later. But in 5 years, I at the very least hope for Hambone. If he does retire, he has a proper send off. It'll be like the end of Power Rangers in Space, where Zordon is saved and all the evil in the universe is destroyed, but he has to sacrifice himself at the end. So it's like Power Rangers in Space with the Wrath of Khan, where Spock dies at the end.
All sorts of different influences, to hopefully get a proper send off more than anything else. But I mean, I sincerely hope that at least you get the opportunity to do more with this, like at the end of the day. Yeah. As we start to wind down the interview, I just have one last question I want to ask you. Obviously, you've been deeply interested in art in one aspect for another for ages now at this point. How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
I think of it as, okay, so we're going to talk about AI art and why I hate it. I feel like the way to art and how to like do it in a way that perhaps is good, or perhaps you at least feel satisfied with and you enjoy and other people enjoy, at the end of the day is about the process, because to get to the point where you're satisfied or you reach your goal, that takes you failing. And from that failure, you can learn a lesson and you can learn, like, and that's, that's parallel with life. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I fucked up drawing this foot, and I have a foot commission too soon. Sorry I brought it there, but you learn from that. You like try to get better. Like, okay, how do I draw a foot? Like, can I do a shorthand? Do I block it out like this? What's sort of like the anatomy of a foot? I don't know why I started with foot. I tried to make it weird. I'm sorry, y'all. But with that, like the journey of doing that, you're learning and you're searching, you're finding other resources to learn to draw the something. I'm not gonna say feet again, but you do that and it might take you to different avenues. Well, I've drawn this. Well, how about I focus on this so I can learn to draw, I don't know, a car or a mech or a flamingo, like, or learning that sort of thing. That journey is very important as an artist and as a person. And with AI art, get the rail on it. If you do that, you just like, okay, I want this, this, and this, and also draw her farting, that sort of thing. So, sorry. I'm kind of a memester, so.
No. I was gonna say, honestly, like, I'm not like what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I'm not surprised by that. Anyways.
If you do that and like just leave it to an AI to do, you haven't learned anything except for like how to get a good SEO on what you want. Mm-hmm. I feel like the only people who've really learned anything from AI art is the programmers, and at the end of, but also they haven't really learned anything ethically when it comes to like taking other people's art and feeding it to a computer to make what have you. So I think art is very important to like teach people about themselves and how to teach themselves, and learn how to teach and how to learn lessons are just paramount to art. And I feel that's the most important thing about it, and that's the most important thing about it for me.
There you go. That was weirdly but wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself.
It was all the feet, wasn't it?
It was the feet and the farting. Let's be honest.
All right. I will just very quickly, just to touch on Vtubing with feet. Do you know if there's like a Gordon from Rocko's Modern Life feet VTuber who's just like a feet with a face on it who VTubes? I feel like there's got to be.
There's got to be at least one out there. The internet's unique enough to provide something like that, you know?
Yeah, because every time I think of weird VTubers, I always think of this character called Gordon from Rocko's Modern Life, who is just a foot with a face.
Yep, exactly. But once again, that is weird but wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself. Hambone, that is all the questions that I have for you. I've already showered you with a bunch of praise, but I'm going to shower you with a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do whatever the fuck I want. Look, ever since I found you, like, randomly, I think this is...
Yeah, like, you found me, you gave me a tip, you activated my Neelix alarm. This is back in, like, my 2D Live, which I haven't done in I think a year or so.
That's what I was gonna say. Like I remember I just randomly found you because at the time I was really starting out, like getting invested in VTubing or whatnot, and I decided like to just randomly go on to Twitch and like just go through the categories or whatnot, especially like art categories. And I remember you were just doing like an art stream or something like that. And I found I found like both your style and your aesthetic just like fun. I forgot what you were drawing.
I have it clipped because you startled me with it, and I have it clipped on my channel. I could probably find it real quick.
I'm sure you probably could. But it's like, you were just randomly doing that. I remember I gave you a tip. My name was on your channel like for like what, over a year or something like that.
still is because you gave me the last tip as well.
Well, yeah,
so.
but that one says anonymous, but
Yeah.
But nevertheless, like, I've been trying to keep, tabs on you, like, throughout that time, and I see some of the fun stuff you're providing to people. I see the fun you're having with other VTubers, stuff like that, and I see you, like, just genuinely having a great time and, like, slowly but surely growing. I mean, like I said at the beginning, you're kind of under the radar, and I sincerely hope that if this episode alone doesn't do it, I sincerely hope you get an opportunity to show more people like what you're capable of and the fun stuff, the fun vibes you're able to provide, because you genuinely
hold on, this deserves a little. Hold on. Wait, what? Oh no! Oh wait, where am I? Where am I? You? Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right, you see me?
I see you. I've seen you this entire time.
All right, yeah, that deserves a little bit of that. Okay, keep going.
I was gonna say. No, like I was saying, like, I sincerely hope, if not for this interview, like, just you keep doing the incredible stuff. People should deserve the opportunity to see what you're doing and the fun you're providing at the end of the day. Like, I mean, and especially getting a chance to talk to you right now and hear your story, hearing the stuff that you kind of more or less went through, and like how you're able to persevere at the end of the day and still provide this good upbeat energy at the end of the day. Like, it's a lot of fun what you're providing to people, and I sincerely hope that it's as much fun for you as it is for the viewers that do get to watch. And I sincerely hope you get an opportunity to show that to more people at the end of the day, because you're doing a great job, and like I said, all I can hope for is just more for you. At the end of the day, thank you for what you do. Keep up the awesome work, and if nothing else, like, whatever you do next, I'm gonna be right here rooting for you. All right.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
I'm just being 100%
honest. Thank you. I think you choose like very interesting guests I've seen. Like, it does run the gamut. Okay, so I saw your trailer, and I see people, you're talking to people, like I got Steb on there, you got some other people, you got some fleshies in there, and then I see just Asher Roth, and I'm like, and that's a name I don't know if a lot of people know. But that man had a hit called "I Love College" from his album. I believe it was "Sleeping in the Bread Aisle."
Yep.
And I'm like, is that the actual Asher Roth? And I'm like looking for episodes to listen to like prepare. And I see, yes, it is Asher Roth from his hit song "I Love College." So I'm going to listen to that episode after the Sneb one.
Listen.
So I feel like you just like, I don't know if you had it in or you were just swinging for the fences, but like the guts to do that and just like. I'm going to say you kind of cold called me about this because I wasn't really expecting it, but I really appreciate that. That takes a lot of guts, and I really appreciate what you do.
Well, absolutely.
I think it's fantastic.
Two things about that episode. One, yes, it was just a legit, like, cold call swing for the fences. Because, okay, I said this on the episode, but at the, like, a little bit beforehand, I just recently got back into his music because I didn't realize that, like, he produced a couple things here and there, like, after the one hit wonder or whatnot, after I Love College or whatnot, but, like, the fact that, like, he's still making music, like, even to this day, like, and, like, whenever I initially contacted him, he was about to release an EP, and, like, this was April this past year, like, of 2022, and so it's like, I contacted him, and he's like, yeah, your show's got a good vibe or whatnot, see if we can get out. Things happened when it came to life or whatnot, but I still kept in tabs with him to the point to where we actually got that interview. And believe me when I say, it was one of the most surreal interviews I have ever had.
That's really cool. Like, yeah, just, it's like Michael Scott says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yep.
So might as well start swinging.
I was going to say that's more or less, I've said this on so many episodes. But
like I can barely like get an appointment to get like my wrist checked out because I don't want to bother people, but you just like, hey, Asher Roth, call me.
Okay, I wasn't that cocky with it, but
hey, Flowbots, what are you doing? Get your ass in the studio. Junior, senior, let's have a family reunion.
Oh, goodness. If any of those names...
Milli Vanilli, you can stay home.
No, even... I would be curious just to talk with them.
That would be the hell of an interview, honestly. Like, their side of it after all that controversy. Oh, my
Especially
God.
After all these years, like, at the end of the day, like... Because, let's be honest, like, what they're kind of doing nowadays or whatnot, it wouldn't be the first time that someone has done... It wouldn't be the last time someone does that, and today's society of having, is it Milli Vanilli? Is it Milli Vanilli just technically what VTubers are? Just like putting their voice onto a different model?
Oh, sure. Oh, God. Damn. Where's the lie?
Where's the lie? Sam Punk. Anyways, if people may be curious about this VTuber, though, and wanted to see more and show that love and support I've been showing you, go ahead and plug yourself for the people at home.
Hello, I guess I'll just kind of do my outro. Hello, I was Bonergard Epsilon Hamilton, aka Hambone. You can catch me nights or days, so it's mostly nights at this point, at Radio Bonaire on Twitch television. I stream video games. I sometimes do art. Sometimes I do collabs. Sometimes I watch silly videos. Sometimes I watch videos that people are also live streaming, but it's a big company, so it's okay to piggyback off their stream. But yeah, if you also want to catch me on Twitter, I am also Radio Bonaire. I found out that if I have different names on different platforms, not everyone can find me all at once. Mm-hmm. So there's that. Honestly, I think that's about it. My presence. I do have a YouTube. I haven't really uploaded once. I think I have one video, but hopefully at some point I will upload highlights and stuff like that.
All right. Well, there we go.
But that's about the gist of it.
And if nothing else, if you missed any links, I'm sure they have in the description below. I got you covered. Do you have any final words before we sign off?
I was like, is there going to be a section for shoutouts, or perhaps I could recommend you some guests?
I would say, hey, if you want, this is your time. If you want it, this is it.
All right, I would like to give some shoutouts to the V-Hatchery, which is a Discord server for up-and-coming VTubers. Maybe not even up-and-coming, but like new VTubers. If you need resources or just like collab partners or just a sounding board or just like a cool spot to hang out and BS with people, check out there. It's run by Gumi Ghost, Ezros, and I believe Vamp, Moira, and It's Minra. Mm-hmm. Also, shoutouts to my Trek boys at the M-Class Discord. And the M-Class podcast. They've kept me through a lot of hard times. Really good folk. The hosts are Jeff Pennington, who is also an artist. He does all the title cards for M-Class podcast, and he is fantastic. If I could recommend one person for you to interview with my interview, I would say go check him out. I do not have his Twitter or any names off the top of my head, but I'm going to give it to you later.
Okay.
But yeah, shout outs to them, and also Josh Penning. No, wait, no, that's their ship name. Josh, no, they're both named Jace. It's hard. Josh Henderson, one of the Continue boys, been holding it down since like 2012 with their video game review show. Also, fantastic wiener scientist, love him to death. Anything else? Just all my friends and family. My intern / pet rat Abigail. Mommy, Father Dragula, Sister Wolf, and Brother Stein. Shout outs to them. I think that's it.
There you go. And also, hey, we can't help but give a shout out to good old Michael right there. I mean,
yeah, Michael, say hi. Thank you, Michael.
And with that,
it's hard. It's hard for his audio to pick up because he's also recording my audio, so it's like we haven't quite figured. I tried to plug another cable into him, and I woke up 3 days later charred and burned, so I'm not going to try that again.
You know, it's best not to tempt fate at this point.
Yeah.
And with that, all I have left to say is for the people at home, hasta luego, mi amigas.
Bienvenue. Wait, no. Arrivederci. Arrivederci.
Tell me what's wrong, tell me it's parts in motion. Sing me a song, tell me your eyes can open. Show me it all, put me up in the car you drove when you used to call. Show me it all.
Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I greatly do appreciate you sticking up to this point. Sincerely. Like I said in the intro, Hambone is someone that I have been more or less keeping tabs on for a while. I remember coming across their channel just randomly when I was first getting into VTubing and just wanting to do something different and finding literally like small artists that were only streaming to like 1 or 2 people in the art category for Twitch, because I feel like at times with Twitch it's hard to get some discoverability, but regardless, Hambo was one of the people that I saw, and I wanted to give them an opportunity and a chance, and I'm so glad that with today's conversation I really did. Look, Hammy, if you gotten up to this point, thank you so much sincerely for your time and the thumbnail. It's a wonderful thumbnail. Like I'm saying, sometimes I feel like Twitch is hard to really discover new people sometimes, and they gotta do what they can to promote themselves. And I sincerely hope that like opportunities like this podcast really gets to truly promote people. That's the whole purpose of Amateur April. Like, it's not so much their abilities or how cool their art. Well, actually, it's kind of how cool their art is. Because seriously, like, Hambone's art is like it's fun, it's cool. I sincerely appreciate it, especially like the history behind it with all the like the monsters and stuff like that. But that's aside from the point. I'm getting off track. When am I ever on track with these things? No, but with Hambone, like I said, like it's in with Amateur April. The whole purpose of it is to try to give artists that like more of an opportunity for people to see them and show them love and support. And I sincerely hope I'm doing a halfway decent job with that. I know it's hard for me sometimes to even get my own discoverability and develop my own audience a little bit more. But I sincerely hope that like opportunities like this really gets to open your guys' eyes to someone that I feel like deserves it. With every single artist that I bring on this month, I feel like they absolutely deserve it. And I got a couple of incredible ones coming on that I cannot wait for you guys to hear. I mean, the long and the short of it is like, at the end of the day, I'm just doing what I can to try to help artists. That's all I can ever hope for. I mean, I know it's hard for me sometimes to feel like I'm really promoting anything in the first place, at least mentally, but at the end of the day, I'm happy to have these conversations, and I'm happy to even think that if just one more person gives them some love and support, that I'm doing a halfway decent job with this podcast. That's the hope at the end of the day. So for all the artists out there, if there's one thing you can take away from this episode, just do what I try to do with this podcast in the first place. Try to show that love and support to the people that you think deserve it. You would not believe how much it would mean to them. More than you would ever believe. Because, it's rough out here. Show that love and support today.